on episode 63 of Pixel Gaiden.
10.
Cody enjoys some modern Vectrex games.
9.
We have an arcade game show. Tim cleans a floppy disk.
7.
Eric shows off a toy from his past. We open a video game grab bag on air. An 8-bit micro boxing battle.
4.
Ninjas, Cthulhu, and hockey, oh my!
3.
Cody screws up the audio. And Eric and Tim screw up the rest of the show.
1.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
Welcome to Pixel Gaiden! Featuring Cody, Eric, and Tim Drew. Now, here are your hosts, Eric Nelson and Cody Hoffman! Dum dum da dum dum. Eric, it's the Olympics, baby!
Tokyo
2021! I don't know if they use that same song like all around the world. It's probably just the one that they use here in America. That dum 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 dum. Do you know the name of that song, by the way? I had to learn it so I could do my segment last month.
I have no idea.
It's called Bugler's Dream. It's like a chunk right in the middle.
I would have never guessed that.
Anyways, if you're looking for retro video game or retro-inspired video game fun and news and information and talk and discussion, you're in the right place, Eric Nelson.
I thank you, Cody Hoffman.
Because you found your way to Pixel Gaiden, and we talk about all those things and beer.
We're excited. We're excited this episode.
We're always excited. We're fresh. We're just, we usually record 2 at once, and lately we've been doing 1 episode a night. So it's a little refreshing, different.
Yeah.
Coming up in this episode, we are going to, of course, catch up like we like to do. There is going to be a Cody's Corner segment. I am going to discuss modern Vectrex games physicals that I own and love.
Awesome.
And of course, hopefully you guys enjoyed the one I released last month, the YouTube video I released on Cody's Corner, where I talked about modern C64 games.
Yep. That was a good segment.
So this month I will be releasing the Vectrex one also in video format.
Perfect.
Please check those out. I'm actually getting some pretty good feedback from the few people who have been able to watch them.
Yeah.
I think they're worthy of many watches myself.
It's going to take a while to catch on. We're going to get some more followers there.
Get some traction.
Click subscribe and like.
And ring that bell, whatever that means. I really don't know what that means.
I have no idea.
We are also, of course, going to have our buddy Tim on the show, fellow co-host.
Yes.
And he is going to join us for a game show. And who's running that?
Me.
Tonight?
I have on a very special episode of Pixel Gaiden.
A very special episode. Eric does the game show.
Yeah.
And we are going to do a battle of the systems.
Yes.
you had to think about
it. We keep messing that up. We keep mixing it up.
I got it right, so I'm sorry that I got it correctly.
Yeah, this one was a weird one because I'm the one who suggested boxing games, but in my mind I was like Ready to Rumble, like more 16-bit Dreamcast era. And then all of a sudden we do like these 8-bit ones. Frank Bruno on the C64 and Barry McQuiggan.
Barry McQuiggan.
McQuiggan. Is that right? McQuiggan.
Now, if you're a boxer, named like Mike Tyson, or Muhammad Ali, are you gonna just shake in fear when you hear the name Barry McQuiggins? And welcome to the ring, Barry McQuiggins.
Exactly.
He was probably like a really good boxer, and people are really offended right now. And I'm sorry, the name I don't know the guy.
Well, he has a whole game named after him. He has to be a big deal.
I don't have a game named after me, Eric.
It's kind of a big deal.
Although I'm a little upset because I've noticed your name in a couple of Commodore 64 games recently.
My name?
Yes.
Yeah.
My name is not in any games.
I'm a pretty big deal.
You are kind of a big deal.
I'm not.
Please know that we are also part of the Amigos Retro Gaming Network, so please check out the other shows. Of course, the Amigos, Everything Amiga. ARG presents Sprite Castle, where they talk about, where Flack talks about C64 games exclusively.
Yeah.
R. Sinclair, which is a ZX Spectrum specific podcast. The Coco Show, which talks about the Tandy Coco. and 1200 XL, which talks about all the 8-bit Atari platforms. Check those out. The Amigathon apparently just happened. At the time of this recording, it has not yet happened, but apparently it just happened. Although I do know it's already raised a lot of money, so thank you everyone who joined the Amigos for that, and all the hosts that participated and made content for 24 hours straight.
We donated as a podcast, which means you, the listener, should donate to it. If we can do it, you can do it.
And you can still donate. Even though it's done, you can donate. Go to amigathon.com, and the proceeds go to the aid of Extra Life, playing games to heal kids. Eric?
Yeah.
I got some quick questions. Quick questions! The first question that we have was the community question. And if you are on our Discord server, by becoming a patron of the show and donating a couple bucks each month, you can get access to the Discord server. More details to follow on that. You will also become part of the community quick question that you can answer.
Yeah.
So the quick question I asked this month was, were cover discs or cover tapes a big part of your childhood? And I think this is very location specific.
I think so. At least tapes were. I mean, tapes were a much bigger deal in the UK. But I saw cover discs quite a bit here, attached to magazines and things like that.
So if anyone here is too young to remember,
right,
you would be able to get, again, a lot in the UK, but some here in America too, either a magazine that had plastic over the top of it, and if you open it up, there'd be a CD in there.
Right.
Or a floppy for the Amiga, or even tapes for older computers.
Yep.
And then in my case, we'll talk about it more, but there's also just CD magazines that you would actually subscribe to, and you'd get a CD to pop in your computer with articles and sound files and games and apps and all kinds of just stuff every month.
Yeah.
So let me read some answers to this real quick. So Rob Flack O'Hara from the Sprite Castle podcast says he doesn't remember playing any demo floppy disks. Anytime he ran across one of those Commodore Compute Gazette floppies, he would immediately format it and fill it with wares.
Right.
So he was using it for the format itself. Then he'd notch the disk and put wares on the backside.
Yeah, you could do that. So I did that a lot.
Again, for those who are younger than myself, if there was no physical cutout little notch, like a chunk cut out of the floppy, then you could record on one side. Is that correct?
Yeah, so when you bought a floppy disk, it had one notch in it, and that meant you could record on one side. If you flipped it and notched the other side, you could record on the other side. But if you want to write protect it, you just put tape over the notch, and then you can write protect it. Just
like, again, for people who are younger than me, cassette tapes that you listen to music on had a little hole in the top, and you could either cover it or break the tab. Yeah,
little tab. Now I will say that, and Tim would call these the posh kids. The posh kids would buy this little thing that you could notch the disc out.
Yep.
Like it was a little device, like a hole punch, but it was made specifically for floppy disks. If you were like me, a non-posh kid, I would just take a pair of scissors and eyeball it.
Yeah.
I'd say, okay, the notch is on this other side. And I'd line it up and make the notch with a pair of scissors.
And if you were a little smarter, you just take another disc and
that's right.
Not eyeball it.
I wasn't that smart. I was non-smart and non-posh.
He finishes to say the only demo discs he got were for the original PlayStation. I had one with the first level of Tomb Raider and the first level of Crash Bandicoot. I played them over and over until eventually I got those games. So,
Who was that?
This is Flack. This is Rob.
Oh, Flack, still, okay.
Mr. Boat of Car himself from the Amigos chimed in and said, I'm sure anyone with a BBS connection who was gray area minded, quote unquote, would have a little use for cover discs. However, cover discs were a major part of my childhood. Before I got an NES, the only time I got quote-unquote new games for the Atari was from the cover discs on Antic magazine. Amigo Aaron said, PC Gamer was my number one source of demo discs. Loved that magazine. When I got into the Amiga, I really liked Amiga format, those great cover discs. And Hermsky chimed in. Cover discs were great. I never really used any of the data on them. All they got used for, you know what I'm talking about, ...
That's right.
We've heard this before, huh? Yes. He does say he'll go a step further and mention his history with tapes. My favorite tapes were not the tapes that accompanied magazines, but the ones that replaced the magazine. So it's kind of like what I'm talking about with tapes.
Right.
I loved the 1648 tape magazines, which I am in the process of cataloging through my Back to 8-Bit with Hermsky YouTube channel. So he got a little plug in here. Look at that.
Look at that.
Cheater.
Good for him.
Our cohort, Tim, said for us in the UK, cover tapes and discs were very popular in the late 80s, early 90s. I remember Zap 64 did the Zap sampler tape. And that was the first I can remember from 1987. It had some demos, a special version of Gribbly's Day Out on side A of the tape, and on side B, an audio track by Ron Hubbard that is a remix of the Sanction tape, which, of course, Tim's handle is Sanction. Loves that game. Loading music called Thalamusic. Cover discs were king for me on Amiga format, Amiga user, and they have basically, he said there's a lot of public domain discs or games that came on those discs. And he sent us a few pictures of the tapes, actually.
Wonderful.
A couple more real quick. Lobsterminator said, we didn't have a domestic cover disc scene in our magazines. I believe he is US-based, USA.
Right.
And the import UK mags were pretty expensive, thus a rare treat. I was more into mail-order PD discs, public domain, which Sanction mentioned. I ordered many of the public domain games and fish disc type stuff. What's that mean?
There was a thing called the Fish Collection. It was on the Amiga, and it was the Fred Fish. Was that right? Yeah, Fred Fish.
Fred Fish.
And it was basically a huge collection of public domain stuff that would be compiled and curated onto discs that I don't know how they were sent out, but I found a couple of really cool utilities for the Amiga on these Fred Fish discs.
And then Hermsky included a picture of 1648, the tape magazine, which is really cool because 1648, I'm assuming is 16K, 48K, which would mean Spectrum, the original
the ZX Spectrum.
ZX Spectrum, yeah. So what was your history?
So the question technically was, were they a big part of your life? And no, they were not. I don't remember any 8-bit stuff like doing any cover discs or cover tapes. I don't even remember them being on the magazines. Like I know Flack said that he saw the discs from Compute's Gazette, and that was one I subscribed to. I don't remember there ever being discs.
Okay.
I think you could send away for them, but you didn't get them. I might be...
Maybe it's only if you bought them at the newsstand and you were subscribing, so you got shafted.
It's possible. I could be misremembering, too. But I do remember, and I don't remember the game, I do remember going and seeking out a PlayStation magazine and getting a demo of some game because I really wanted to try it out before it came out. It was a game I'd been waiting for, and there was a demo on it. You know what? Now that I'm talking through this, I think it was Tony Hawk.
Okay.
I think it was the skate game.
I could play that first level over and over and over again.
I think the demo was the first school, was it the school level?
That was level 2.
Okay, the first one was the warehouse. That's what it was. I'm 100% certain now. There was a demo disc with the Tony Hawk game. That's all I remember ever doing. What about you?
So I had my Macs. All right, I grew up with the Macs.
Wah, wah, wah.
And, hey, ouch, though. So there was not a ton of software for the Macs.
Right.
So when we did, actually, my mom started getting magazines that had cover discs on CD. Now, this is, when it was CD era, pre-Power Mac, but post, right when CDs were coming out. I would scour those things, and it was all kinds of stuff on that CD. So there was mod music files, which I loved listening to. I remember Seek and Destroy by Metallica.
Yeah.
And that's where I first heard that song. I'd never heard it before. So I know the mod song better than I know the real song.
Awesome.
Things like that. But then I also remember all the little public domain or shareware games that were on there.
Yeah.
That was like most of my gaming on the Mac. Like I only owned probably 2 big box games for the Mac.
Right.
Later on, we finally broke down and got a PC. And I did the same thing. I bought PC Gamer magazines all the time to play demos because I personally, my mom would buy those for me from time to time.
Right.
She wasn't going to buy games. But the magazines were okay somehow. And so I played, I remember specifically playing a 4x4 game where I just kept playing the first level and driving all over the place and just destroying my truck, and thought it was the best time ever. And Destruction Derby, first level.
Yeah.
Destruction Derby.
That was a great game. I played it on PlayStation, but it was an awesome game.
You have a quick question. Oh, no, Tim. Tim has a quick question. Eric, you can read that one.
Sure. Is there a software publisher that you always look for
their new games?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That you always look for their new games, and also one where you always avoid their games?
Does anything pop to mind to you? Have you thought about this?
Yeah, so for me, of course, it's mainly the Commodore 64 ones, the Cytronic, and what was the other one? There's Pond.
Protovision. Now, those are more distributors. Okay. Publishers. Those would be publishers.
I think they're publishers.
He said publishers, so they publish it.
Cytronic, Pond, and...
Pond is a developer, I think.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just going to go with that because I do pay attention to their releases and I really look forward to them. The only one I know I always think of to avoid is just modern games from EA. I don't play them. I'm not down with the microtransactions. I'm not down with that. So, I mean, that's the only one I can think of that I really just kind of have I just don't want to play their games, period.
Yeah, there's a lot of those modern Ubisoft, a lot of those modern game houses do a lot of stuff that's hard to stomach.
Yep.
So we could say that'd be an easy way. I would say that everything that WayForward releases, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I did a whole Cody's Corner episode on it. Whatever they touch is just a solid gameplay, even if it's a weird license. Like if they made a My Little Pony game, it would be off the hook, Eric.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And they've made some weird licenses.
You become a brony.
I'd be a brony for that game. And then and then for a Commodore, I would say Icon. Was it Icon 64?
Yeah,
they've done some solid stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great C64 developers right now, but that's the one that every time I see that, it fits the way I like those games to feel.
Sure.
I would stay away from, and this is outside of the modern stuff, like you said. Even though this is modern, but it's indie inspired, we actually played one just now, and it's the fourth time I bought a game from them, not realizing it was them. And as soon as I saw it, my heart sank.
What is it?
East Asia Soft.
Oh, yeah, I don't even recognize the name, frankly. But
so I think they're associated with Play Asia, the retailer that I used to buy a whole bunch from.
Sure.
But the games that have come out are, at first they look really cool, but the gameplay is just stale. So the shmup we just played.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get into it, but it was when I started playing with it, I'm like,
we played it before the show, and I was. There's something up with the graphics. I wasn't gelling to the style of the game, and I'm a big fan of shmups.
Yeah,
but
yep,
that one wasn't gelling with me.
I swear I bought 4 from them, and every time it popped up, I'm like, shoot. So There we go. Let's go ahead and let people know how they can get a hold of us.
Let's do it. So, if you want to find show information, you're going to go to pixelguiden.com. If you want to reach us on Twitter, you can reach me, Eric Nelson, at DuhProject, DUH Project. You can reach the show at pixel_guiden. You can reach Cody at oddball, which is ODDBA1149. You can reach Tim at sanction, at SANXION. Please review us on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast catcher that you use. That would be really helpful for us. And if you want to email us, you can email at podcast@pixelguiden.com. And we do encourage feedback.
We also have a Patreon account set up. So if you wish to support the show financially, you can do so at patreon.com/pixelguiden. You can support us with as little as $1 all the way up to infinite dollars. If you do so, you'll get access to the Amigos Retro Network Discord server, where all kinds of cool chat is happening about not only our show, but the other shows such as Bright Castle and, of course, the Amigos, amongst other shows. And there's various other topics in there, everything from for sale to music to high score contests, things like that. If you support us at the $3 or more tier, we like to announce every supporter at that level here on the show in a way that we can only do here on Pixel Guiden using our random adjective generator. This month we're getting into the spirit of the games. Hello and welcome to the Pixel Guide Olympics, where every 4 years the best of the best get together for a friendly competition of waggling that joystick, bashing that A button, or pressing Ctrl-Alt-Delete until the crush of defeat consumes them. We don't want you to miss any of the action, so please write these times down and stay tuned. At 7:30, we start things off in the pool with the 100-meter events, where you'll see such stars as the weary Henrik Lofel, the reflective Dustin Newell, the noxious Matthew Ackerman, and of course the infamous freestyler, the suitable Daniel James. At 10:30, the relay event starts, where we're going to see the powerhouse from Russia, starting with the liquid Josh Malone, the true Eric Sandgren, the impenetrable David Vincent, and bringing up the rear, their anchor, the adaptable 10-minute Amiga Retrocast. That brings us to noon, which brings us some of the more interesting events here at the PIX Games, starting with hog tossing, where you're going to see such amazing revolutionary throwers such as the historical Roy Fielding, the level Mr. Toast, and the jagged Maciej Sosnowski. And it's anyone's guess who's going to come out on top when we hit the flag dancing routines. Of course, the grateful Paradroid is going to be there, the embarrassed Ramoke, and you will be amazed and dazzled by the antics of the grouchy Ant Stiller. That all goes down at the 2 o'clock hour, but at the 3 o'clock hour, things get crazy when it's the Cow Patty Fling. You're going to see such amazing flingers as the detailed Mitsuyama, the mixed Hermsky, the Godly Citizen, and the flat Gary Heather. At that point, we're going to take a quick break, but then in the evening hours, 6 o'clock, some of the fan-favorite events. We're going to start off with the heavy-duty weightlifting, where last year, we unfortunately had a contestant pull his arms off. That's right, he pulled his arms off. And this year, we're going to see if the young American, the breezy Brian Arsenault, can go ahead and reclaim the throne for America in these heavy-duty events. And of course, at 7:30 to finish the night off, everyone loves to look towards the gymnastics events, and this year is no different because we have a rising star that everyone is talking about. He can do no wrong. This young athlete has been winning every single event in the off-season, waiting for these Olympic events, trying to grab gold for the first time for his country, new to the sport, but making a huge splash. The secretive Paul Jacobson. Yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Very much that.
Exactly. Thank you, Patreon people. You are the reason for the season.
You're a reason for the beer, which we are not going to do quite yet, Eric.
Not yet. I'm chomping at the bit for it, but...
We have errata and feedback to discuss.
All right.
So really quick, Tim and I both did, all three of us did segments. I take it back. My segment is coming up in just a few minutes, Eric. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. But we got some feedback on Tim's segment. He did on the Sam Coupe, which is not a sports car. It's a coupe. No, it's a 16-bit microcomputer that came after the Spectrum.
Yeah, and like in his segment, it sounds like an awesome system. It's kind of funny that it didn't actually succeed.
Yeah. Pajako. 6502 on our Discord said he enjoyed it and learned a lot about the system and has kind of been enamored by it. Amigo Aaron had mentioned that he's a big fan of the SAM since he covered it on ARG Presents a while back, which they always pick a couple of games from a system and play it.
Yeah, they've covered everything.
Yeah.
They cover everything.
Did they cover the TI-83 graphing calculator?
Not yet.
We need to beat him to that.
Yeah, we should.
I need to get Tim's over to him. It's still in my my dresser thing behind here. And then also I wanted to touch on this one. Mitsuyama, wrote in because we were talking about Picross a bunch last episode.
We were, yeah, because I covered that on my 6 Good Games.
And he had an awesome suggestion, and it's a game I actually own and played, but it's Konami Picross.
Yeah. Which
is on all like the Android apps, and I've actually played through all that, and it's Picross, but you unlock pictures from like Castlevania or different Konami
little sprites. You basically unlock little pictures of sprites. That's Konami pretty cool.
Games. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm gonna pat myself on the back again and said my segment on the 64 games went well, getting some good feedback on that. So please check out our YouTube channel, and Tim's been posting some stuff on there as well.
Yeah.
Some streams that he did on Twitch. He pops up on YouTube. That's youtube.com/pixelgaiden. You had a bit of feedback as well. We had no errata. No one called us out on anything this week.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Loved Pixel Guidance. This is from Alexisms on Twitter. He says, loved Pixel Guidance number 63. Was that 63?
62, I believe.
62. Especially your love for the 360. Pretty much mirrors mine. The original Xbox had brought me back into gaming, but the 360 cemented it. And then he mentioned that he had a ton of friends on Xbox Live, used to play games with them, mostly Halo and Gears of War. He's not a big FPS multiplayer person, but he loved to sit there and chat with his friends because the Xbox really did have it down for multiplayer, like the lobbies, the connecting with being able to find your friends, talking with them with your headset. I mean, that way.
I've heard people say that. I've never actually really used it. I mean, I do own one now, but
yeah. But anyway, we had a long conversation about it, but he really did like it. He talked about Death Smiles, that shmup, which I think you would like a lot.
Oh, I have it. Actually, I own that.
Death Smiles is fantastic. So a lot of nice things that they said about that episode.
And here is one I got on the actual Pixel Gaiden YouTube page in response to the Commodore 64 video from somebody named ISO?
Okay.
It's probably ISO. Like
EYSO.
Yeah. He was talking when I was talking about top 10 lists and games, classic Commodore games, and how I play through them and I just can't find ones I like. They're classic to people. It's probably nostalgia.
Yeah.
He said those top 10 lists are kind of rose tinted. He says The Last Ninja wasn't even a good game back then either. It was just a cool game. Tons of atmosphere. Regarding the pixel perfectness of Monty on the Run, well, that's part of the gameplay, which I know it is, and there's a lot of those kind of games.
There is.
I just don't gel with it. It drives me nuts.
Right.
He says the flip screen games were there to give you that challenge in each screen, and satisfaction when you reach the next screen could be immense, which I get. There are tons of games where the hit detection is just fine. The new games sure are impressive and fun, but keep trying those old games too, and leave the top 10 games for what they are, which I guess is they're nostalgic to people, and that's why they're there. And that's what I'm getting at is,
because his little secret from me is that I thought Last Ninja looked really great and had great music, but I did not really like the gameplay very much at all.
But I always say that on the show. I'm here to play games now.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm going to review them. So it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Although I am very much noticing, especially after listening to some other podcasts, how much growing up with the 8-bit Nintendo has tuned me and my gameplay style into the way the games on Nintendo have to be programmed and how they feel because of that, compared to 8-bit computers where it's completely different. And so I have a harder time liking things on other platforms.
Right.
Because the Nintendo is where like my reflexes and my everything
there definitely is a style
born and grown.
There's definitely a style to Nintendo games, especially versus something like a Commodore 64 or ZX Spectrum or something like that. They have a completely different feel.
Mega Man, Eric. Mega Man. All right. Well, I think it's time for us to hear a little bit about modern Vectrex games now. Cody's Corner! Ah, that sound. And if you know it, you know that is a Vectrex. If you guys don't know what a Vectrex is, a quick brief history. The Vectrex was an all-in-one game console that featured a monitor that was built into it, but it was not a normal monitor. It was a vector-based monitor, which is I guess you want to call it black and white, but really the only color it emitted was white. And if you've ever seen an old arcade game that was vector-based, such as Tempest or Star Wars, then you kind of know what I'm talking about here. The graphics are purely mathematical points connected by lines, and the cathode ray in the back of the tube is drawing these lines super quick. Quick history on the Vectrex, because I want to talk a lot about it. However, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of history here. It was released in 1982 by a company called CGE, which stands for General Consumer Electronics. GCE. I always get that backwards. So that was November 1982, right before the video game crash. It was purchased by Milton Bradley, and after the crash happened in late 83, production ceased in 1984. So it's actually pretty impressive that they were able to release some like 20, 24 games like that, something like that, within that amount of time. I received my Vectrex about 7 years ago when I was at a video game shop, and I'd seen them. Eric actually had one, and hadn't really played much of one, but they all of a sudden had one sitting on the counter, and I saw it and I knew exactly what it was, and I freaked out because you just don't really find them in the wild. And it was sitting there at this video game store. I asked him how much. It came with 6 games, including boxes for most of them, and overlays, which I'll get to in a second for all of them. And it included one game which I knew was valuable called Star Castle. So after a little haggling, I got the whole setup for about $300, which was amazing because I went on eBay and sold Star Castle. Kind of regret it to this day, but for I think $140. So really, the way I look at it is I got it for about $160 with 5 games. But that's not what this particular Cody's Corner is about. What I really want to focus on here is the fact that in the last few years, specifically, modern games have come out for this amazing all-in-one console. I want to go over some of those, how you can get them, and just kind of give a quick overview of which ones I think are absolutely worth getting. And I want to start by saying that if you listen to the show, you might know that I don't terribly have a lot of interest in collecting, like NES games or cartridge-based games, even CD-based games, because the media all looks the same. There's nothing I can't do with an EverDrive to give me the same feel of any one cartridge game. They all look the same. They just have a different sticker on them. So why do I have an interest in collecting for or having modern games for the Vectrex? Well, it is a piece of hardware that cannot be replicated. If you emulate the Vectrex, yes, you can emulate the games, but they just don't have the vibrant pop of the real Vector screen. Also, the controller for the Vectrex is very unique with a 4-button layout straight across and a really smooth, cool-feeling analog joystick that you really kind of have to feel to understand. And they do make kind of... some people have been making reproduction ones because the Vectrex and the controllers in particular are getting so expensive. But you can't really reproduce that. Plus, the look of that Vector screen, which I always suggest turning off the lights because it pops so much more. It feels like you're in an arcade. It kind of takes you to another world. It's so cool. But you also have these plastic colored overlays that you put in front of the monitor, which, quote unquote, add color to what you're playing. And they have cool instructions and information that can be put on those overlays, and it's just not an experience that you can really reproduce via emulation. So for me, this is the system I like to own the real stuff for. So I will start off by saying that I do believe the best game on the system is the game that is built into the system, and that is Mindstorm, which I did get an original overlay for. However, some of these games I did not get overlays for. I would love to point out that you can now purchase them. They are $10 a piece, and you can find them at vectrexmulti.com, which we'll be talking about later as well. These new overlays look amazing, so if you really want to buy kind of just the used cart and buy these used overlays, you can get the entire Vectrex original collection for pretty inexpensive, and pretty much get the full experience if you don't care about the box on your shelf. I highly suggest that. I did that for a number of games, specifically the ones I find terribly interesting, such as Bedlam, which has this really cool star-looking overlay. I would suggest ones like Armor Attack, which kind of shows the battlefield and kind of the structures. Flipper Pinball adds a lot. Some of these cool gradient ones like Scramble, same thing. There are a lot of Vectrex overlays that are just a plain single-color screen, kind of like... Berserk is just blue, and Blitz, I think, is a football game. It's just green. Polar Rescue, I believe, is just blue. Things like that. But there's some very cool ones, and they've also started making overlays for a lot of the retro homebrew creations that have been made more recently. Also, there is a test cart that you can purchase, and it kind of can help you dial in your system, so they do make an overlay for that as well, which I have not learned to use yet, but that is something that we won't talk about in this video, but you want to also adjust and set up your system. Another thing I would suggest to purchase from these guys, if you have, just like me, old original games, including the original overlays, the little sheaths that came with them are at this point all ratty. You can see mine are kind of almost look coffee stained, tore up. Somebody wrote the names of the games on them, but in really poor penmanship. They just don't look excellent. And I don't know if you care about vintage paper on your overlays, but you can buy brand new sleeves, which I went ahead and did, so I can freshen up the presentation of my games and make it look that much better when I'm pulling them out. It just feels nicer, and they're only about $1 a pop. Now, on VectrixMulti.com, you will also be able to purchase the Sean Kelly Multicart. They're on version 3.0 as of time of this recording, which is cool because it includes all of the original games, plus some homebrews and things on it that are selectable via an on-screen menu. It's a pretty cool solution. However, I don't want you to get it confused with this item I have, which is called the VEC Multi, which is a completely different device. And I love this thing. It literally is a Vectrix cartridge that you can pop an SD card in the back so that you can load any homebrew you find online, original games, demos, just anything people make. You can throw it on this thing and plug it into your system. It comes up, it adds it into a nice little GUI here. You can press buttons 1, 2, 3, or 4 to select the selections that's showing currently on the screen, right and left to see more options. And this is the way I like to do everything that is not an original cart. One thing to keep in mind, though, the Vectrix laser on I call it a laser, but in the back of the screen, if you have some sort of program or somebody were to make something where the laser stays still on the screen for a long period of time, it can burn the screen. So just keep that in mind. Not something I've actually run into yet, but keep it in mind. You can see some cool homebrew games I'm playing here if you're watching the YouTube video version of the Cody's Corner segment this month. If you are not, hop on YouTube and check that out. But I think it's time for us to hop into some of the complete in-box games, which I am so enamored by. So up first, I wanted to mention Pack Rat Games. Now, these guys are awesome because they really took all of the kind of Vectrix homebrew that's existed for a long time since the Vectrix ceased to exist, and they made these physical copies of games, put them on nice cartridges with labels and nice look like almost like a Betamax cartridge tape, if you remember Betamax tape boxes, these hard plastic boxes. And when I purchased these original, I was getting them, I want to say they're like $15 to $18 a piece. They've gone up a little bit, but what I love about the way they think about these things is they want to make these for people to enjoy on their Vectrix in a physical media. They're not doing this to make money. They're just kind of doing this as a, hey, you're paying us just to make it physical. We're not making money off the game or anything like that, because they are open source. In fact, they ask you specifically within the inside of the label, please do not ruin the spirit of our hobby by reselling the cartridge for a profit. So they want you to keep it at that price. So some of these games, they are very cool. They're mostly ports that people have made in their own time, such as this one here, Moonlander, which is very much a lunar lander clone, if you will. It works. It looks simple. It is simple, but it's cool to have on the shelf, and I'm awful at it. It's an extremely difficult game for me. Next, I have this really cool little compilation. Games apparently by Alex Herbert. It is 2 games, Protector, which is a Defender clone, and Yasi, which I think is hilarious. It stands for Yet Another Space Invaders. And Protector is a pretty solid little clone. It actually plays exactly like the arcade version of Defender, which drives me nuts because if you've never played that, you actually have to press a button to flip the direction of your ship. The controls are very hard to get used to, but they are true to the original Defender arcade game. And then Yet Another Space Invaders is cool for the reason that they actually used the vector screen of the Vectrix to fake a raster, which would be like a normal CRT, normal screen graphics, making these little lines, kind of creating these sprites, if you will, rather than vector-drawn graphics, even though they technically are vector-drawn graphics. You can see on the back here kind of the instructions. They put it all in the one little case. Nice little package. And then the last one I want to show here from Pack Rat Games for the time being is called Vecmania, which they took a number of really cool games, demos, and remixes, shoved them all onto one cartridge, including Starfire Spirits, which is on the screen right now, which is kind of a really cool Star Wars arcade style game. This one's pretty impressive. Birds of Prey I really like. It's probably one of my favorite. It's ripping off one of my favorite games, which is Phoenix. when it comes to those single-screen Space Invaders kind of style games. And the last one I'll show you real quick is Patriots, which is Missile Command. However, you'll notice there's only 2 towers, one on each side of the screen. So they take a few liberties, but these are solid games, and there's more on here, demos and kind of cool stuff to play with as well. Now, this next set of games here is kind of a jump up in production quality, and these are being sold for more money, but they look like original Vectrex games, and I can't say enough about them. They are just the coolest. Starting with a couple of games from vectorrepublic.co.uk. So yes, these need to, if you're in America like I am, have to be ordered and brought in from England, but it actually got here pretty quick. And if you order a couple, the shipping, per each ends up being not terrible. First one here is Frontier. And what you'll notice about both of these games is you not only get a killer original looking Vectrex box and Vectrex insert and Vectrex cartridge, you also get a nice little plastic box to protect it. It just comes as part of the package, which I might buy more of these for some more of my games. It comes with a very cool looking overlay, kind of showing the west here and the cactuses. It's got some stuff built in, which I appreciate. Score and lives are there, so when they pop up on the screen, they're labeled for you. And of course, at the bottom, it shows you what the buttons do, which is a nice little point of reference. Great manual here. You will see this one, I believe, was black and white. And the only thing it's missing, if anything, and it's hard to complain, is it does not have a sheath for the overlay. But guess what? I already bought a bunch of those, and I went ahead and put one on for myself. One thing that is interesting to note about the games from Vector Republic is that you can purchase the US style box or the European style box, and the US is uglier, like usual, in that it makes the game image much smaller on the front and adds all this small writing kind of down here at the bottom. So I opted to go for the European version, which just gets rid of the small writing and makes the screenshot that much bigger. I think it's a better looking package. Now, Frontier. This game is apparently based on an arcade game, which I've never heard of, to be completely honest with you. You are a sheriff, and there's these outlaws kind of running around on the outside, and every once in a while they shoot at you, and of course your goal is to shoot them back. You can shoot in all 8 directions, orthogonally and diagonally. However, there's this other little guy here. Actually, he looks very much like the bad guy. He's just kind of running around the middle of the screen, and that's kind of a civilian, if you will. You want to keep him alive. Every once in a while, a buzzard will fly over the top of the screen, just like in Space Invaders. They have kind of the UFO that goes over the top, and you can shoot that for extra points. You can see the hats up here in the corner for lives. You start with 3. And once you clear a stage of bad guys, you go to this cool little shootout mode here, where you literally wait until the bad guy pulls his weapon. It says draw on the screen. You try to hit the button quick enough to get some bonus points. This is the main version of the game here in single player. However, it is cool because it's kind of, we'll call it 1.5 games in one. There is a 2-player mode. If you're lucky enough to have a second controller, you can play this game here where you are on opposite sides of the screen from each other, shooting at each other. And of course, there's enemies running through the middle of the screen that you can shoot for extra points. But your goal is basically to shoot each other and dance around these cactuses. What makes this a little more interesting is that buttons 2, 3, and 4 will shoot slightly to the left, straight, or slightly to the right. If you've ever played the game it's an arcade game and a great game on the NES as well, called Gunsmoke. It has a very similar mechanic. Very cool little game. I enjoy owning it. You're not going to get a ton of time out of it, but again, the packaging and everything makes this a very nice pickup. The next game I wanted to talk about from Vector Republic is Quartz Quest. Now, this is my most recent pickup, and I think it is very cool in the fact that this is essentially a very light version of a JRPG right here on your Vectrex, which I don't think ever really existed before. You're this little dragon named Quartz. You kind of go from map to map in almost a Zelda-like way, but the enemy battles are random encounters, and when you run into those encounters, you are fighting them, choosing to use your tail, or you can use whatever fire breath you have at the moment. As you play through the game, you can pick up ice breath or different other kind of breath weapons. And if you get hit, you start losing health. If you hit them, they eventually die. If the enemies die, you can get coins from them, which you can use to go to the Goblin Village, and you can go to the Armory to either pick up attack bonuses for your tail or armor bonuses to help defend their attacks. And you can also pick up things like potions to heal yourself, things to your fire breath uses magic, so you can refill your magic with certain things. It actually has a very large map. If you really want to know where you're going, you probably want to hand draw this thing as you go, which adds for some replayability. And your goal is to go to 3 different dungeons on the map, find the key at the, if you want to call it, boss in each dungeon. Once you get all 3 of them, you can go to the main tower in the center of the map to fight the final boss in the final dungeon to win the game. Absolutely gorgeous overlay. I love this overlay, and again, the box is just top notch. This is probably the best looking package that I have. And if you're into that style of game, it's kind of fun. I'm not going to say it's top tier stuff, but I really enjoy it, especially for the novelty of playing a JRPG on your Vectrex. Next game comes from a different manufacturer. Dark Tower from VectrexMulti.com is a game that was actually designed to be released during the original lifespan of the Vectrex. It was never released until now. These guys put together the full package. It looks exactly like a US release Vectrex game, down to everything you get in the packaging. Even the manual looks spot on. Very awesome package. And a very unique game, nothing like anything else I've played on the Vectrex as well. You'll see that the overlay has got this really cool blue and red theme to it. And a lot of people hear Dark Tower and think it relates to some other stuff that came out in the 80s. I don't believe it has any tie-in. But you can see here, it's a very unique style of gameplay where you are this knight running through this forest. You are collecting bags of gold, and these little chests will pop up, and you can open the chests. And when you do that, you might get gold. You might have a wizard that tells you to get out, or you might end up in this kind of fun mini game, which is honestly the best part of the game, where these creatures are peeking out behind pillars on the left and right hand side of the screen, and you have to throw, I don't know what you call these things, little sparkle bombs at them to try to hit them before they hit you. And when you hit them, they shatter satisfyingly into these broken looking pixie sticks. I'll be honest, this game, I haven't quite figured out how to play it. I think I've read the manual, and I still haven't been able to kind of put this together. I can enjoy this for what it is, but I would not say it's a great game, but it is a great blast from the past. They do have a standard and an enhanced version in here, but again, without knowing the gameplay, I think they basically left the standard in so that you can enjoy what they originally created back then, and I think they did some quality of life improvements to make it more playable today. I should probably spend some time on the enhanced version to see if I can get into this one more. Now, I'm going to kick things up a notch here, because Vector Pilot, I've talked about this game before on the show. In fact, I had Eric play it on the show while we were just listening to him play it. And not only is the original arcade game Time Pilot one of my favorite arcade games, but Vector Pilot is, in my opinion, better than the arcade game. I know that sounds like blasphemy, but just the way it feels, the smoothness of the controls, the way they make the vector-based graphics appear on the screen, this thing is just gorgeous. The sounds are gorgeous. The way the game feels is gorgeous. And did I mention the 2 overlays? Yes, that's right. 2 overlays that it comes with are also gorgeous. It comes in a really kind of large, if you remember Disney VHS tapes back in the day, it kind of feels like that style of a box. I'm looking at it right now. And it's packed in here nice and tight with this little styrofoam insert. The logo looks great. The manual is full color. It's only kind of 2 pages. It doesn't. The packaging doesn't necessarily harken back to the way they're supposed to look, minus this cool little grid pattern on the front here. And the only downside I would say is that the overlays are literally just packed in the back of the box here, underneath the plastic, so you can kind of see through. Which again, it works fine. It is a solid construction here. But again, it's kind of a little hokey, but ultimately this packaging is very nice and solid. The game is nice and solid. I could play this thing for, literally hours trying to beat my score. The gameplay, if you don't know Vector Pilot, you are a ship in the middle of the screen, and you can go in 360 degrees in different directions. It's kind of scrolling in whatever direction you're heading, while different, at first it's airplanes are attacking you. They can shoot little bullets at you. They can throw bombs at you, and you are simply trying to destroy them, as many as possible. The more you destroy, the more this line at the top of the screen shrinks, and once you kill enough of them, it shrinks to the point where a level boss will come out, and you will have to destroy that larger ship to time travel. I'm not sure exactly how that works in reality, and you time travel to a different era, starting with, biplanes in like 1942, and you work your way to like the Huey helicopters in the 70s, and then in the 80s you've got jet fighters, and you just keep playing to kind of find out more and more timelines. And of course, every time that you go up a timeline, the ships get harder, they're a little quicker, they can shoot, eventually homing missiles are coming after you. And to maximize your score, you can also destroy little fleets of ships that are about 5 ships kind of stuck together in one group. You'll get extra points for that. And if you see a parachuter flying through the air, you grab that parachuter. If you grab the first one, it's 5,000 points. The second one's 1,000. Third one is 2,000. I think the next one is 4,000. You get a lot of points grabbing those parachute guys. But great high score game. And I would have to say this game is the best game available all time on the Vectrix. Or is it? Because I have one more game to talk about. This one just came out, and I have to say this one won me over. Vector Blade, which also was a release by vectorrepublic.co.uk, is a single-screen Galaga-style game. Just like Dark Tower, it comes in a very original-looking package with an absolutely gorgeous overlay, and it has a very cool trick up its sleeve. Most Vectrix games originally were on 8 kilobyte cartridges. They were 8 kilobytes in file size. There were some that went up to 16, and just very, very few, including all the homebrew, that will get as big as 32 kilobytes. That's how big a Vectrix game could be. This Vectrix game is on a 128 kilobyte cart, which, relatively is enormous compared. And the Vectrix itself only has 1 kilobyte of memory built in. So all kinds of really cool programming tricks to make this work, I am sure. So here's what is so cool about this game. It starts out like a boring 2-shot Galaga game to beginning. And it grows and grows from there. There are power-ups. When you shoot enemies, money is falling. You collect money, you take it to a store that pops up every so many levels, and you buy more power-ups. There are also anti-power-ups that fall, so if they are in a little triangle shape, that is something that's going to reduce, for example, the number of bullets you can have on screen at once. You start with 2, you can get up to like 10. It also can change your rate of fire, how quickly you can, shoot a second bullet. It'll also change if you're shooting 1 shot, 2 shots, or 3 shots at a time. I haven't got to the point where you can shoot more, but I've heard those are there. And it's just crazy how many things this game does. New enemies are popping up all the time. There are boss battles. And when you start a boss battle, look at this ant, if you're watching, again, the YouTube portion of this. really cool graphic kind of showing you almost like a storyboard saying, watch out, look at this guy that's coming up. You fly off into the distance and you start battling this giant space amp with all his little ant baddies in front of you. There's a pickup when it falls that all of a sudden you hit it, you hear that famous Mindstorm intro song, dum 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 dum, and all of a sudden you're kind of jumping into a mini game where now you're dodging asteroids and things, and the faster you go, if you complete that mini stage, you get more points. It's easier to complete it slow, but you don't get as many points. Just like in Galaga, there's bonus stages where the space creatures or whatever kind of do a dance around you. Your goal is just to try to shoot them all. This is what's crazy about this. It has RPG elements. So not only are you playing through this game, which by the way has 100 levels, you play through this game and you can unlock achievements. And when you unlock achievements, that means it saves it into the memory of the cartridge itself. And you can start the next game, future games, with advantages from the get-go. So you kind of level it up. It almost makes it like a kind of modern roguelikes where you kind of build up and level up your character. So much to talk about in this game that I just think is so cool. When you first start it up, it will make sure that you adjust the game, not the Vectrex to your game. It'll allow you to adjust the game to your Vectrex by doing this little 4-part process where it helps you, asks you to line up different text and things like that. And when you do that, it saves your specification into the cartridge so that you don't have to do it every time, and it works on your Vectrex. If you took this cartridge to another Vectrex, you'd probably do it again, because every Vectrex is a little different. They're not perfect that way. And you start on easy mode. I have not beat easy mode yet, but apparently if you beat all 100 levels and defeat the game on easy, it'll unlock more modes. And there's high scores on here. There's this cool little room you start the game in to decide if you're going to look at achievements or scores or options or play the game. This is just a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. If you only buy one game for the Vectrex, this is the game I have to say you go for. And I don't know what else to say. Vector Blade, absolutely awesome. I've put literally hours into this game, more than I've played any other Vectrex game. Probably, in large part, maybe more than all my other Vectrex games combined. I don't know. Must have, awesome game. Kudos to the game's designer, which is listed here as Malbon, and then inside the front cover he lists a bunch of other people that helped as well. Make more games. I love it. I will buy them. Awesome game. There are a lot more games out there than this. These are the highlights as I found them and the ones that I purchased. If you guys know of some other ones or have different opinions, please go ahead and leave those in the show notes and or email us at PixelGaiden. And we'd love to hear anything else. I would love to hear anything else you guys could say about the Vectrex or any items you could guide me to. I'm loving this system. In fact, I just ordered a fun little thing that's going to give my Vectrex the ability to do speech, which this game actually can do as well. No surprise, right? Does all the tricks. Go out there, try some homebrew. If you can get a Vectrex, get it now. They're growing up like crazy. But it is a unique experience, and people are making amazing things for it. All right, we are back here in the studio, Eric, and who else has joined us on the line?
It's me, it's Tim. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever it may be at this particular moment in time. How are you guys?
Tim Turi, we are swell, I think.
Doing well.
Good stuff.
We are swell, Turin. It actually is quite warm. Yes. It's that weird part of the night where I open the windows, but it's still can't tell if it's warmer inside or out yet.
So do you not have aircon in your room then?
Oh, we do, but we also have energy bills.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we try to catch it just in time where it's colder outside than in. So quick poll behind the curtain for everybody listening. Cody messed up some recording stuff, and we have to do a whole new game show here, which is just fine because I enjoy doing the game shows. But it also means we missed out on discussing our beer.
It's true.
Sad noise. Where's my sad noise?
Also, all that research I did on the Game Boy game show goes to waste.
You had a great Game Boy game show, absolutely.
But we're not going to do that this time.
Eric, do you remember what beer we had?
We had the Joaquin Dead, right?
Correct.
Joaquin,
not the Walking Dead, but the Joaquin.
That's right.
Spelled with
a
the
picture
J.
of the Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, right?
Actually,
Wasn't that right?
It kind of did, but yeah, they were zombies. I guess I never put that together, but you're probably right.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what was on that can, but I remember liking it. I don't remember what we rated it, but I remember that we liked it.
Yeah, it was a good solid. It was a Mexican red ale from Evans Brewing Company in Corona, California, which is down by San Diego, California. So there we go. There's our beer review. We both said, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Right.
That's probably the worst beer review we've done, but it was a very cool looking can.
Was it fruity?
It was not. It was
No.
Mexican and red.
A bit nutty.
All right, Eric, so I'm going to let you take this away. Let me know what the name of this game show might just be.
So, gentlemen, get ready for the Pixel Gaiden Game Show Arcade Edition.
All right, we're off and away.
Cool.
I'm excited.
Right.
I have to get my paper ready here, though.
Yeah, get some paper ready to write down, and this will be 10 questions plus
ready.
a bonus.
And the listeners, you guys play along, except for Aaron. I don't like hearing about how much better you are at this than we are.
You guys are all the dirt worst.
Was that your American accent?
You guys are boned.
That's just no good. All right.
All right. Here we go, guys. 10 questions related to arcade games, classic arcade games. And there is a bonus question, a tiebreaker if we need it.
Heart is
I'll
pounding.
use it anyway. Whether it's a tiebreaker or not, we'll use it. But here we go.
Okay.
Off to the races.
And we're recording, right? Yes.
We are recording. Thank you for quadruple checking. Oh, wait, I have that sound
I don't want to
too.
come up with more questions. All right, here we go, guys. Final Fight is the arcade classic from Capcom from 1989. There are 3 playable characters: Cody Travers, Guy the Ninja, and a former pro wrestler / city mayor. What's his name?
I am confident.
Who's going to get
my
the first
answer.
point?
I am.
Who is going to get the first point?
Tim looks very confused. At first, I thought this was an easy 2-pointer, but
Not for me.
awesome.
Not, I'll give you a hint.
I could name the first 2, but not that one.
I could give you a hint. It's not Rudy Giuliani.
That was my answer. Shoot. No, I'm ready when you are,
Okay.
Tim.
Okay, I've got that. I know it's wrong, but there we go.
That's
That's absolutely
close.
correct.
That is. I was going to go for the full name, but I'll take the last name.
Oh,
His name was Mike Hagar.
Hagar.
With 2 G's.
I was right.
Well, when you play the
Technically.
game, it just said Hagar in the corner. How do you not know that, but you absolutely nail it? I don't understand how that's okay.
Exactly. Got 2. So
it was a guess. There was something there, but yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right,
okay, so we are tied up. So 1-1.
one
Here
to
we go.
one.
What is the name of the city where Final Fight takes place? Is it Megatropolis? Is it New York City? Or is it Metro City? Da, 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 da.
I'm ready.
You guys ready?
Ready.
Go ahead and show
going
us what you
with-
got there, Tim.
I'm going with Metro City.
That's what I got to.
What did you get?
Whether you can
Metro
see it or
City?
not, it's on there. Metro City is
Yep.
what I went with.
Boom!
2 for 2.
Tied up.
Excellent.
2-2. Okay, now we're gonna shift gears a little bit.
Final Fight 2.
In Street Fighter 2 World Warrior,
Fight.
it has eight playable characters.
Fight.
Which one is from Brazil?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Hadouken! What's his name?
It's the one I wrote down. You should pick Hagar and get it right again. You should just throw whatever random name you think of and go, nope, definitely not that.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Let's see what you got.
Oh my
Blanca.
gosh, Tim, come on, man.
Blanca, there we go.
2 more.
See, after I wrote those Game Boy questions, I was like, man, those are probably too hard. Now I'm making them too easy.
Well, no, apparently Tim's just sandbagging over here. Like, I can't. Okay, here's the
he's
range.
hustling us. He's hustling us. He's all, I've never played arcade games before.
Know what he said? He's like, oh man, I'm drawing a Blanca. Blanca? That's it.
Blanca, that's it.
All right, here's another softball for you guys. Galaxian is an arcade classic from 1979.
Debatable.
Galaxian. Okay.
Debatable.
What'd you say?
I said debatable. Fight me, Doug.
It's not Galaga. This is Galaxian.
This is Galaxian. This is before. Come on, Cody. Pipe down a minute.
The grandpa.
Let Eric get the question out.
What company developed it? Capcom, Midway, or Namco?
I got my answer.
Got mine.
Here we go.
Midway.
Namco?
I have
did
Midway.
you say Midway?
I said Midway.
The answer is...
It is Namco, isn't it? It is Namco. I should have known that. I do feel like an idiot. All right, Tim
is
takes
up,
the lead.
4-3.
Yo, 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 yo.
All right, here
The
we
sound
go.
of confidence.
Literally shifting gears.
Racing
Again.
games.
I feel like an idiot. I don't know why I put Midway. Dumb.
In the original arcade game, Super Off-Road, there are 3 AI drivers while playing the game solo.
I already know what it is.
One was red. One was blue. What was the third color on the truck?
Third color.
Yeah. So there's 3 AI trucks. One was blue. One was red. What was the other one?
This is on the arcade?
The arcade?
The arcade had 3 steering wheels. No,
That's
those
right.
weren't AI.
And you. So when you playing it solo, you were one, and then there was 3 AI players.
Gotcha. Well, my answer doesn't change. All right, I'm ready to go.
This is a total guess from me.
And you'll get it right.
Pink?
Nope, it's the impossible to beat yellow guy.
You keep holding your paper up.
I can't see.
There
It's
you go.
yellow.
Yellow.
And he's impossible.
So it's tied back.
Add it back up. Bring it, Tim.
They're tied.
Ew.
Hey.
The answer was yellow, and then you play as the silver truck, or I think it's silver or gray. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Okay. Here we go.
Gunmetal.
Hopefully this one's pretty easy. In the original Outrun arcade game from 1986, the player controls what type of car?
Well, this depends on who you ask.
Oh, joy!
I think I should get this right.
I got it from the original.
Does the spelling have to be correct?
No, the spelling does not have to be correct. And there are technically 2 different answers that I will accept.
Okay, well, okay, I'm going to go for this one. What do you get, Tim?
I got Testarossa.
Testarossa. What did you get, Cody?
I put unlicensed Ferrari Testarossa.
Correct.
With no
I'm going to
Atari
give
badge.
them both to you. I would have also accepted Ferrari Testarossa Spider because it was a particular
yes.
model.
It's the
Convertible.
The rag top, yeah.
Yep. Well done, guys. It's still tied, 5-5. Wow, we're bringing this. You're going to make me deploy the tiebreaker question. I hope this one will be a little more challenging. In the classic arcade game Dig Dug, there are 2 types of enemies. What are they called? This is multiple choice, and each choice will have 2 enemies. You ready?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pukas and Figars, or is it Gemtars and Looky-Loos, or is it Tomtos and Dragoons?
I just heard a
Number
crow.
1, Yeah, that wasn't from me. That had to have been from Tim
that was a
in
very
the UK.
It was a very British crow.
Yeah, he was British.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll be eating crow after this. Yeah.
When it said that, it didn't pronounce its T.
Right. So.
Did you guys need a repeat?
No, I know
You got
exactly what it is.
I do.
Okay. Show me what you got.
No, I need to repeat, please, Eric.
Oh.
I was distracted by the crow.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Okay,
It was all-
so the first one is Pukas and Figars? Or is it Gemtars and Looky-Loos? Or is it Tontos and Dragoons?
Okay.
All
All right, show me what you got.
Pukas and Fragars.
Yeah, I've got the first one.
Okay. I'll accept that. I will accept that.
So we
6
are,
to
for the
6.
record, we are correct.
You are correct.
With our big retro brains. Our listeners
right.
should be totally jealous of our knowledge.
In the 1983 game Elevator Action,
Ugh.
the player's character is codenamed Otto. His government designation is Agent 7, Agent 17, Agent 27, or Agent 37. 7, 17, 27, or 37.
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
I'm going with Agent 7.
I'm gonna go with Tim's logic and say the second one.
So Cody, you're saying Agent 17?
Yep.
Tim went with Agent 7. Cody is correct.
Yeah! Darn it.
That is right. They couldn't have ripped off
17.
James Bond that directly.
So he is up 7 to 6. Here we go.
Got to pull this back.
Here we go.
Is this the last question?
Second to the last.
Oh, second to last.
Second to the last question. Second to the last question. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hit me.
In the Williams Classic Robotron 2084, during the first 4 waves, you have Enforcers, Spheroids, Grunts, and Hulks. Those are the primary enemies. During the 5th wave, you will encounter blank for the first time. It's multiple choice. Here we go.
Gameplay.
When you get to level 5, here they come. Terminators,
I like it. That was clever.
Terminators, Brains, Saucers, or Robocannons. Wave 5 introduces either Terminators, Brains, Saucers, or Robocannons.
Okay.
I'm ready
I've
for my
got
answer.
something written down.
I went Terminators. I went Arnold Schwarzenegger style here.
Okay?
I went
You went with
Robocannons.
Robocannons.
Because none of us have got brains anyway, so...
That was my second choice.
Both got it wrong.
Really?
Oh.
Saucers?
Wave 5 introduces Brains.
Oh, it's brains.
Yep.
Okay.
Brains.
You know, the
All
part
right.
where the gameplay starts, Tim, when the brains show up?
Exactly. Last question. So right now it's 7 to 6. Cody's got it by 1.
Hanging on
Ready,
by a
Tim?
thread.
Last question. In the 1983 Laserdisc classic game, Dragon's Lair, the protagonist is Dirk the Daring. Who is he trying to save? Multiple choice. Princess Penelope, Queen Barta, Princess Daphne, or Princess Turd Ferguson?
The fourth one.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Sending confused vibes to Cody.
You actually are. I do have some, because
You
obviously.
must get wrong. You must get wrong.
Do you want to repeat?
No, I don't need. I don't need a repeat. Man, that's killing me. Because I know what you're trying to do there, and it's working.
10-second clock. 10, 9,
All right.
8.
Oh man.
All right. I'm gonna go with this one. Since we already have
All right.
written down, I know I want to say Daphne was Space Ace, so I'm going to say Princess Penelope.
Penelope. That sounds so crude.
I'm going
And
with
you
that.
have
I'm going with Daphne.
We have a tie.
We do have a tie. What was the one in Space
Tim
Ace?
got it right. I don't know.
Oh, I
don't know
thought
off
that's
the top of my head.
See, I double backed on
Princess
myself.
Daphne, though.
I definitely know it's Daphne in Dragon's Lair because I can remember playing it in the arcade.
That's the thing. I played Space Ace more than I played Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair, yeah.
I think I have too. I think Space Ace was better, to be honest. But honestly, I didn't like Laserdisc games.
No, they weren't great.
Did anyone ever see the Firefox Laserdisc game in the arcade?
I did.
Yeah, me too. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I think I did. I did see it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right, tiebreaker. You guys ready?
Okay.
All right, it all comes down to this. As it should.
Who sold more albums in the U.S.?
Oh, no.
Well, you might know them.
Yeah, I don't think you'll... Because it's going to be like something when I was 4 years old. So...
Backstreet Boys? Or Boys to Men? It's the Battle of the Boys.
Wow.
Who sold more albums in the U.S.? Backstreet Boys or Boys to Men? This wins it all. This wins it all. And if this isn't it, I got another tiebreaker.
All right, I got my pick.
You feel nervous?
So nervous.
Here we go.
Unfortunately, Tim and I are going to tie. We both said Backstreet Boys, although Boys to Men was actually decent music. And it probably should have sold more albums, but I don't think it did.
Yeah, I'm just remembering that the hits, really, Boys to Men was only really one big hit, wasn't it? But
few, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were both right, so we're still tied up. Boys, okay? Here it is.
The tie question.
The tie question. So the Backstreet Boys won in the U.S. How many albums did they sell closest to the number? It's in millions.
Okay.
Closest one without going over.
Without going over?
No, let's not do that.
No, don't do that.
Let's not do that. Write down what you think it is.
In millions.
In millions. Whoever is closest.
And this is the Backstreet Boys. All albums combined.
Boys. All albums combined in the U.S. Not world, in the U.S.
So what's platinum's a million, isn't it? How many albums did they have?
Gotta be more.
I'm gonna go with...
I really have no idea. I don't even know how many a lot of albums is, so there we go. I got my number.
It's probably too low, but
Mine's probably too high.
I'm going with 7.5 million.
1.5 million.
I'm going with 15.3 million.
Fight!
15.3 million. They sold 37 million in the US.
I'll take it.
Cody win, and Boys to Men sold 25 million.
Not bad.
Wow.
Not too shabby.
Cody, congratulations. You won by
thank
one.
you.
Well done, Cody.
Thank you.
Actually, you won by what? What is it? 7.5 or... Did you win by 7.5 million?
I thought, I was gonna say. I think the last question is you get a point per album that you were closer than Tim. So, boom!
Congratulations, guys!
Thank you, Eric. Great game show. I enjoyed that.
All right, gentlemen. I guess that brings us, I believe, to catching up.
Yeah, let's do it. Catching up.
Let's go ahead and catch up.
Catching up with Eric and Cody
And Tim. Well, let me pull my notes up here. I guess I should have been doing that while the whole thing was playing.
Catch a ride.
So anybody listening at this point in the show already knows, but because I just did a Cody's Corner on it, but I got a bunch of. I went on a buying spree for Vectrex stuff.
Yes.
So go listen to Cody's Corner to hear more, but I picked up Vector Blade, which is an amazing physical game. I picked up Dark Castle, which is an old game that was finally released and made physical. I also picked up a game called Quartz Quest, which is this cool little like JRPG where you're a dragon. And I picked up another game called Frontier. And all these games have boxes and overlays, and they're gorgeous, and you should check them out. What is also cool is I also picked up, when I purchased a Vector Blade, for $10 a piece from, I think it's vectrixmulti.com. $10 a piece, I bought brand new overlays, which I love because I like to collect things that I can't just download to a cartridge for like other systems.
Right.
So to actually have overlays, and then I have my SD card solution. It's called the VEC Multi. Now I have the games, and I could actually put the actual overlays in there. I mean, the original ones, go for up to $100 each.
Yeah.
For some of those games. So to have a brand new, perfect condition, and they look identical.
Yeah.
So very cool.
The 3D printing on that case looks really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would pull it out and show everybody, except, like I said, I just did a big old Cody's Corner on it, and you can hop on the Pixel Guide YouTube channel and watch it and see the exact items I own and go, okay.
Nice.
But they're super cool because they all come in box. And for $1 each, I bought little brand new the little sheaths that you put the overlays in. Tim's seen me do the motion.
You're sheathing.
I am sheathing. And there is more to come at a later date. I have stuff coming in the mail.
That's awesome. I got to get that Vector Blade. I'm getting that.
Vector Blade is amazing. Yeah. And Tim, you probably just need to go ahead and pick up Vector Blade and, Vectrex.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. I'll just magic up a Vectrex.
Let me knock these out too really quick. On my Steam purchases here, I picked up 2 games that I've talked about in the past, but I finally picked them up. Actually, 3 games. The first one I'll talk about really quick was called Annalyn. I don't know if you remember that game.
I do vaguely remember it.
You know what? Let me go ahead.
Did you not be rubbing that into something?
It does sound like a cream or an ointment. There, Tim, you can see my screen now, right?
Yep.
Annalyn. Hold on, let me just hide that.
Uh-oh. You're pulling up some weird stuff. I saw some weird stuff in your Google search.
No,
there.
I typed anal in.
Oh, boy.
Annalyn on Steam. Anyways, I can't type. It's too far away. Here it is.
There you go.
So anyways, this game is it's supposed to be like an arcade, imagine like a late 80s arcade game.
Yeah.
But made nowadays. And I was excited about it because it looked good and it looked like classic arcade action. And we're never going to be able to see it because we're too busy looking up this dude with blue hair. Yeah. There we go. Skip ad. Boo.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's adorable. See, but it's even vertically aligned here and there. You go. There's your little. It looks almost like Pac-Man or Mappy to a point. And here's this girl miner.
Definitely has a Nintendo, like original Nintendo feel to it, like the way the high score is up there, and the font, even the font used.
Nintendo arcade game.
Yeah.
What would you say, Taito or Taito? It looks like one of their games.
Yeah. So is this on PC?
Yeah, Steam.
Okay.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't a great game.
I had a hard time. It wasn't clicking with me.
Yeah.
I don't know it looks like it should be great. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try to get into it, but it just I think I might be missing something because it was just super hard.
Okay.
Which I don't feel like an arcade game should start off super hard.
Not start off. No.
And then
It's like the Psycho Fox control method.
Oh yeah, that easy to grasp Psycho Fox control method. And then I am so glad I picked this up. I've been wanting this for a while, and I wanted this one specifically on Steam.
Okay.
Or not Steam, but on PC.
Yeah.
Because it is based off the Duke Nukem 3D Realms engine.
Yeah.
And it's quite literally a new 3D Realms game called Ion. It used to be called Ion Maiden, but they were going to get sued, so they changed it to Ion Fury. And it is a super cool. Just imagine Duke Nukem 3D, but instead of it being a chauvinist man, it's like a chauvinist woman, if that's a word.
Sure.
She's like this badass that's like swearing and tearing people up and cussing at them. But anyways, the gameplay is very much, late 90s Duke Nukem 3D.
It looks good.
They're even showing it being played on a CRT monitor with those nice big white roll-in speakers.
You can't beat that artificial CRT glow.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, the game's great. I've put hours into it.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks good.
And I haven't finished it yet because I got sidetracked, but it's one of those things that I will go back and beat it. I beat it's just like Duke Nukem was. It was divided into 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Each one has 15 levels. And I got about halfway through the second one so far, but
pretty reasonably priced too, eh?
Did you just go Canadian?
I did. I went full Canadian.
What's that about?
Shut up, you hoser. No, yeah, I think full price, it's like $20, but like, it went on sale for like 10. I'm like, yep, I'm buying it.
Cool.
But I wanted it with the mouse. You have to play these kind of games
Absolutely.
with a WASD and mouse. And then last but not least, I wanted to mention this one, which I told you I purchased. It is called Gibbous.
Okay.
And you know me and my Cthulhu stuff. Of course, it's not going to pop up when I search for it. Gibbous Steam Cthulhu. It's a fun word to spell. There it is.
The game gibbeth and taketh away.
That's funny. That's funny. So here we go. We got video on the screen now for us to watch, not for you listeners, but it is gorgeously done, and it is funny and hilarious, and it is done very much. It's a point-and-click adventure.
Point and click, okay.
And it doesn't look very LucasArts or Lucas.
It does.
And again, it's Cthulhu themed, so I love it. I have completed the first 3 portions. I don't know how long it is, but having a great time with it. And I do have one issue with it. So, again, my favorite point and click is Sam & Max. I have the picture on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's the most funny game ever. And when I play it on a lower powered DOS machine. So it couldn't do the voices. It only had text.
Okay.
Which is probably why I love it so much, because in my head, you fill in what their voices are, and it makes it hilarious. Mm-hmm. I played it at a later date with voices, and it's like it loses the humor.
Okay.
It's like, it sounds like it's trying too hard.
Yeah.
So when I play these games, you can see it has the words over their head.
Yeah.
Well, it voices them. They have voiceovers. And, voiceovers are never going to be great. They're just not. I mean, every once in a while you get like a really well done. They have to put a lot of time and get really good voice actors.
Right.
So the first thing I do is take the music, crank it up, sound effects up, voices all the way off. The thing I noticed, which is a problem, is they have more than voices on that channel. So things will happen in the game and it'll just go quiet. Like explosions are happening, but there's no sound.
So they put it on that channel.
They put it on that channel, and I have it zeroed out because I just want to read it.
Right.
Outside of that, it's funny and hilarious, and you actually go back and forth between the private eye and this like college student that was helping out at the library, and his cat gets cursed by the Necronomicon, so the cat can start talking now. Oh. And the whole time the cat is just saying things like, "I've seen what you've done." Like, just because I didn't talk doesn't mean I haven't been here the whole time. It's hilarious. So I will leave it at that.
It looks good.
And move on. Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm going to finish both of these last 2 games I've been talking about.
So, Eric, you're next.
So now that you have that screen up, if you could pull up...
Yeah, let's switch to another topic.
Another topic,
Hello.
Switch. So these are a couple of the Switch games I got this month. Thalamus on Twitter was saying, hey, we're having a sale, and they said there was a game called Rogue Aces, and I really like plane games, obviously, so airplane games, I should say.
Not like boring plane,
right,
but plane.
Exactly. And so I saw that this game, I read about it, and I saw that it was only like, it was $2, I think. And with my points I already had, I think I got it for like 98 cents or something when I applied my Nintendo points. So I went and got it, and I've been playing this off and on since I bought it, and I'm loving it. It's a game where you are a plane on an aircraft carrier, and you get these missions like shoot down 5 planes or bomb like a ammo depot. You can collect these little crates and get power-ups that you use later on in your plane, so you're constantly upgrading your plane. You have a gas meter along the top, and there is a turbo button, so you can fly faster. So if you're trying to get away from somebody or whatever, if you take too much damage, though, sometimes you can't climb as well, or you can't go as fast, or you lose something. I mean, you basically, different parts of your plane take damage. You can't do certain things. But if you land back on your carrier, you can get repaired, replenish your weapons, and then go and play again.
So for those who are listening, it's a 2D side-on...
Correct.
Plane dogfight kind of a game.
Yep, but there is bombing too, and they haven't gotten over there yet. Hopefully he's going towards land right now. You get bombs and missiles that you can see on the right side there. So some of your missions will be like bomb 5 tanks or this ammo depot or whatever. and you have to go to the mission. Now, there's no time limit, so you can drop all your bombs, and if you don't blow up as many, you can go back to your carrier, grab more bombs. It's basically, you're just trying to complete the mission and without getting destroyed. And you have 3 planes to do that. It's kind of a simple game in its premise. The graphics are really nice, though. And again, it's dirt cheap.
And retro-inspired.
Definitely retro-inspired.
I actually own this on Steam. I just have only played a few minutes of it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And one thing, when you go back to the carrier, you can either manually land or auto land. This guy on the video is auto landing. You don't get as many points. And when you get points, you gain experience. And when you gain experience, you level up your pilot. So.
It's like roguelite that way. You kind of...
It is. It's got very light roguelike elements. And then the other things I wanted to talk about is I got Nintendo reissued Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol. And if you haven't played those, they are kind of... I don't know how you'd even explain it. They are beat 'em up kind of...
Top-down twin-stick shooter, kind of.
Yeah, I guess that's a better description of it. Zombies Ate My Neighbor is one of my favorite games on Super Nintendo. I love that game.
Got tons of character.
And I haven't played a ton of Ghoul Patrol, so I'm eager to kind of tap into it on the Nintendo Switch, because it does have some kind of nice little upgrades, amenities to it. Like, it's now multiplayer, so you can...
Oh, that'd be fun.
Have a friend join you in on that and do some other things.
I can hear it, just like when I see it on the screen, I can hear...
Wasn't that a Konami game?
I don't know. Was it?
I believe it is. I have the cart behind me. I think it is Konami.
I think it is Konami, yeah.
Looks like it.
Have you played a lot of these, Tim?
No, not a lot.
Oh, I love this game. This is definitely in my top 5 games on the Super Nintendo.
It's on the Genesis as well.
It is, yes.
And some people say one version's better, the other's better. Mm-hmm. For me, the Super Nintendo is always going to be the best just because there's more buttons and it's much easier to switch between weapons and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
The controller makes it better.
Yeah.
The control on the SNES is better for me.
Yeah, the goal is to run around and try to grab all the people and babies and cheerleaders and basically the civilians that haven't been turned to zombies yet. And when you get them, you get points, and you're trying to avoid them getting killed, which they do, and then you lose points for that. So,
well, I always try to think of real life situations. Like right now, we're watching them in this like hedge maze.
Yeah,
and there's just like a cheerleader fully dressed in her cheerleading outfit, like at the very end of this random corner of a hedge maze. Like, what is she doing by herself, cheering into a bunch of vines?
Yeah. While there's zombies running around, like, I think I'd be going high.
Well, I understand why she knows there's no zombies, because she's in the very end of the hedge maze. She's removed herself from society so she can cheer for nobody. I don't understand. Anyway.
Excellent games, though. So then they're reissued on the Switch. Tim, speaking of reissued.
We've been testing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we Eric and I have been testing Asteroids RX by Happy Coding on Twitter. Is that right, Eric?
Yes.
So yeah, Asteroids RX is basically a direct port of the arcade version of Asteroids, and he has been doing some work on it to soup it up, to put some extra features into it. Cody, we uploaded this one. Did you get a chance to play on this one?
Yeah, I did play a little of that, and that's kind of what I noticed. I'm like, it's exactly like the arcade.
It's brilliant, though. I mean, it really is very, very well done, and it seems to be getting better and better with every iteration that he does.
Yeah, I'm really super impressed with how he's got this really converted well over onto the Spectrum. The vector graphics look really, really good on it. There's some neat animations on the ship. The sound effects are really on point. It's looking like a really good conversion. So if you don't know, Happy Coding also did the version of Jetpack, the reimagined version of Jetpack. Do you remember that, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
So anyway, yeah, we've got a new version of Asteroids to play about with, and we've been testing it. I know Eric and I have been having some fun with this, and we're going to continue to bash away at it, see if we can get some more high scores on the go. I think this has been a high score challenge on the Discord server on Amigo's Retro channel. Is that right? I think I've seen something about that.
Yep.
So maybe they're doing that for an up-and-coming episode of R. Sinclair, I guess. But, yeah, we've been having fun with Asteroids RX. Just to say, that one's not on general release yet. I think it's just been a private closed beta test for a few of us. So it'll be available soon. Next up is another one, Freaky Fish DX. So yeah, the guy Chris, the coder of Freaky Fish DX, he put out a tweet on Twitter, funnily enough, that he wanted someone to test out Freaky Fish DX, the cartridge version, on the Kung Fu Flash, because he didn't have one. So obviously, myself being a Kung Fu Flash owner, I reached out and offered to help to see if I could test it for him. So yeah, I've done a little bit of testing for that this month as well.
And Freaky Fish is on the C64.
Yep, that's right.
Yep, I just want to make sure we clarified that one.
So yeah, whilst doing the testing, I also managed to do a Twitch stream on that, and did some streaming on Freaky Fish DX and also on Asteroids RX.
Now, I didn't see it, but are we planning on putting any of those streams on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, maybe.
Pushing that YouTube channel, Tim.
I think the stream I did has disappeared now.
Yeah.
I was going to upload it, but I think by the time I actually got to get that sorted, I think it had disappeared.
Gotcha. I don't know. I honestly don't know very much about Twitch. I went on the Twitch to see if you put it there too, but it looked like it was blank. So I don't think it must disappear or something.
Yeah, I think they only last for about 7 days. So over to you, I think, Cody.
I have sad news.
Yeah.
I sold my final pinball machine.
Sold it. Did you get good money for it? Without telling us? Don't reveal it.
Yeah, no.
Did you get good money?
So when I want pinball machines again, first of all, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
we are looking to move. So I thought I'm never going to get around to fixing this last one. It had a motherboard issue, and I think I know what the issue was, but I didn't want to go through all the time and effort of trying to like desolder things and putting things on there. And if it fails, then sending it off to somebody who's going to charge $300. And
yeah,
I'm like, I'm just going to sell it on. And just even since I bought it not used and resold it not used, it's gone up like twice in price because everything right now is up a ton.
Yeah, everything.
So I can't complain, but I really wanted my Pinbot to be up and running, and it did not do that. So I'm a little sad right now, but the goal is when we get the new place eventually, wherever and whenever that might be, to purchase more pinball machines. Now, I hope this is somewhat exciting. I have a box that arrived today from Goodwill, from shopgoodwill.com.
What?
And I'm going to open it here. I spent, I think, $40 on this box.
Oh.
And it was like a jumble of stuff. And some of it I could identify, some of it I couldn't.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be a fun grab bag. There's one item in particular I'm hoping is a real one and not a fake one. But it could be completely wrong. So I'm just going to open this real quick.
Okay, Tim, we're going to take a look at this. So this is a pretty, for our listeners, this is a box that is about, I don't know, 1.5 feet by...
I think I'm still screen sharing, so let me...
by 8 inches, 1.5 feet by 8 inches. I don't know. Pretty medium-sized box.
Hold on, let me lower the camera so Tim can partake.
Ooh, look at that box.
Said box. Tim can see said box. I actually am impressed because when we first started ordering stuff from Shop Goodwill, because you were telling us about it,
yeah,
it would be like a box with no padding and like 3 Game Boys just bashing around in there, taking parts off each other.
I've had horribly shipped stuff.
And this one is, I could feel, is tightly packed and there's fragile stickers all over it.
Yep. And no, I was pretty impressed with the quality of the box.
So again, $40.
That looks like some good packing. So you never know, you could have some real treasure in that box, huh?
Right.
Yeah, well, you guys heard about that Atari cartridge that went for $10,000 on Shop Goodwill a couple weeks ago.
Yep. I did.
So
hear
I'm
about
going to
that.
try not to look and just pull stuff out of here.
I think it's called Air Raid was the one that went for crazy money.
Yeah. Oop, that's the one I'm going to save for last.
Uh-oh.
All right, item number 1.
Whoa! Look at that!
It's an Atari joystick of a sort.
Looks like some kind of wireless deal, though, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's got an RF, an IR window in the front,
Yeah.
and a battery thing. So I don't know if that is... Maybe that's part of a flashback?
I
Or
don't
a flashback?
2600 did have wireless controllers that were infrared that went to the actual device.
I think they were bigger than those, though. I think.
Gotcha. Oh, what is this?
I got a bright yellow gun.
Wow, look at that.
Check this out.
That's a revolver.
Oh, guys, this is cooler than I thought. See, this is what I was hoping to find, like, stuff I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cover up some things. It is called American Laser Games Game Gun.
Yeah.
That looks like a proper revolver.
There you go. And then without looking, I'll show you. It is a DB9 controller.
Yeah.
DB9, what the heck?
So I'm like, what is this for? I still don't completely know. It's got a nice metal trigger. But right here on the side, it says 3DO.
Super cool.
Oh, wow. A 3DO.
So it's a 3DO, which I had no idea what it was for.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty sweet.
I wonder how many games there are for it. That's pretty sweet.
That's way cool. And I have a 3DO.
Yeah.
That alone made it worth it to me. That's so cool.
It's a 3DO gun, huh? That's really cool, isn't it?
I'm sure they have some terrible FMV games that I could shoot.
Like Mad Dog McCree.
Yeah, shoot some pixelated bad guys. Dude, that is cool. That is way cool. I'm excited about that. All right. I think I found the rest of... Here we go. Oh, okay. Now I'm a little bummed. So I got an Atari flashback.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't have one, but that one's pretty neat.
It's a 5.
What does that mean?
And it does have the IR in the front, so that's what it's for.
Okay.
I was hoping this was a Flashback 2.
Okay.
Because the Atari Flashback 2 is the one that actually has a replica of the actual Atari 2600, and so you can modify it to put your own cartridges in. It is an actual Atari.
Yeah. You could like hack it to put ROMs on there and stuff.
That's what I wanted to do, but this is just a 5. Oh well.
Yeah.
Doorstop. I got some
Paddles.
Atari paddles.
Those are the real deal.
Why not?
Yeah.
I've got
Look at that.
A Mrs. Pac-Man. What do you call these? Yeah, plug in.
It looks pretty beefy.
Play some Mrs. Pac-Man on that. Why
Yeah.
not? Or else I'll just completely gut it and turn it into something else. Cool.
Yeah. Stick a Pi Zero in there and
Stick a pie in it.
stick a pie up its wazoo. Am I right, Tim?
Wow. Here is a baggie full of various power supplies and cables.
Oh,
Nobody should be without a big
Nope.
box of cables.
exactly. I have a giant box in my garage with just power supplies in it.
I am now the proud owner of a Retro Duo NES and Super Nintendo
Oh,
aftermarket
yeah.
game device.
Is that by Retrobit? It looks like it. Yeah, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
It is? Does it say it?
It is.
Look,
It's on the top, right on the top.
There it is. I've got the controllers.
complete.
I've got a Retro Duo.
It looks complete.
Yeah. Cool. Why not?
If the EverDrive works in there, that's pretty sweet because it means you can get it up on probably HDMI or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, it should. It's not an emulation device. These ones are actual,
Yeah.
hardware on a chip. But
Yeah.
And then this is the one I'm hoping for the best here.
Okay.
And I think